Hello everyone, this is Remlays from 40k Theories, and welcome to the special review from the lovely guys over at Cromlech.eu. Now Cromlech has set me up with this rather nice assortment of miniatures quite a while ago, and I've never actually gotten round to actually reviewing them like I planned to, due to certain things happening which I will not go into. But anyway, today we're going to take a look at all of these items, and there'll be links in the video description below in case you want to check them out for yourself. So let me just adjust the camera and take a look at the first one. Now, as you can see, most of these are not painted, so I'll actually add the stock photos of the painted models as well. So starting off, we have the Orc War Chief in mecha armor, which is essentially an Orc War Boss model. Now, this thing is incredibly detailed, full of like rivets and wires and cables and all that jazz. It comes with a nice two selections of heads, a helmeted head and a bear head. And the stock photo has the claw pointing forward, but I have it pointing out to the side, so it's like going slink, slink, slink with his scissor claws, as it were. So he's just like, wiping the blood off him, just flicking it off, just casually. But this guy is pretty big. He's about the size of a dreadnought, which, as you know, orcs, well, when they get more powerful, they get bigger, so it's at least accurate. But this thing's pretty cool, so yeah. I just love how much detail he has, like with the trophy rack and the fuel canisters and just everything really. It's just an awesome model. So next up we have the Orc Juggernaut in Mecha Armor Squad. Now these guys are basically your Orc knobs in Mega Armor, and they come with a nice selection of weapons such as, big shooters or drills or claws, and as you can see, these are really nicely detailed, again with things like the pistons, rivets, the power generators on the backpack, all the hydraulics, the skull emblems embossed on them. They just look like, real mean, real badass mofos, as it were. Again, they come with a variety of head options, so you can have either just a bear head, or you can have the helmeted heads. I prefer the bear heads on these guys though, personally, even though I use the helmeted head on the War Chief. But yeah, all these models are made out of resin, not plastic or metal, so when you put them together, it's recommended that you pin them in place and make sure you wash them first, just so the glue can help stick better. But these guys, again, very nicely done, nice selection, nice variety in regards to the hand weapons, so you got like buzzsaw, drill, claw. Just add some variety to your collection. Next up we have some of the goblins. So the first ones we're going to look at are the goblin grease monkeys, who are essentially your grot assistants for your mech boys. And as you can see, they got nice little sculpts. They got quite a lot of personality, which I really like. That you can tell that each one of these is a character, as it were. Like, they just got such wonderful expressions, especially this guy with the welder helmet. I love him. He's like my favourite. He just looks like he's sick of dealing with that shit, He just looks sick of dealing with it. And next up we got the Goblin Nurses. Again, nice little assistants for your pain boys. Carrying a nice selection of things such as forceps, which unfortunately I broke on mine. Or a nice big meaty bone saw, for dealing with patients. So it's just so you can get into the skull and give them a nice squig brain transplant. And of course one with a syringe, which unfortunately broke off during when I moved house. Sad times. But again, all these goblin models have really, really good personalities and nice amounts of detail as well. And what we got next? The ammo runts, I believe these guys are. So you've got one like just carrying a whole bunch of, stick bomb grenades, bullets. Another will have that, he's just holding it in his mouth. And you got the one with just a massive missile and a box saying TNT, because he knows that he's gonna blow something up and he's very happy about it. And finally one just lugging a big missile on his back. Doesn't look too particularly pleased about it, but he knows if he doesn't do what he's told, he's gonna get beaten. Next up we have the Norherd. I love these things. These are just basically your analogues for attack squigs. And they're just so wonderful in every way. I mean, just look at the facial expressions on these, they're just so full of character. And I love the amount of... I know I keep saying amount of detail and all that, but I just love the texture on the skin. Things like the horns, the spikes, the wrinkles in the skin, and even the fact they've even added cloacas. Who would have thought to add a cloaca to a squig? That's just mad. But again, all of these items will have links in the video description below, in case you're interested in adding them to your collection. I just love the derpy smile on this one's face. He's just so happy to be here. And again, he's got a nice little cheeky butthole. And this one's my favourite of the Gnaws. Of the Gnaws, this one's my favourite because it reminds me of a mimic squig, you know, the parrot ones. You know, you see the swearing parrots on YouTube all the time, and this one's just a little squig version saying, "Zog off!" So next up we have the Orc Tank Hunters, who are essentially your tank buster boys, and what I really like about these guys is their aesthetic. Just clad in these trench coats and gas masks. They give you a real, you know, World War II kind of vibe from them. Like, if the Nazis were orcs, essentially is what you're getting. Which makes me think these will look really good if you're doing a Blood Axe themed orc army. I particularly like this guy with the massive missile launcher, and I was a bit overzealous when it came to the glue, I'm afraid. He's got a whole bunch of glue dripping from his hand, but when I get around to painting him, I'll just do it to make it look like so he just crushed someone's head and his hand is just blood. But you get some nice poses with these, like when they're carrying the grenade launchers and their slugger pistols in hand. If you're doing a whole Blood Axe army, these guys I would highly recommend just you getting, just because they fit so well with the Blood Axe aesthetic. This particular one, he actually came with, he didn't actually come with a left arm, he came with an additional right arm. So I actually replaced that with a bit of another Cromlech kit for the shock cannon, I believe it was. But I think it works pretty well. It just looks like he just got a mace now, he just bludgeons someone around the head with. Now, moving away from the orcs, we got a demon, or more specifically, the Rotten Butcher. And this guy is massive. What you really notice about him when you pick him up is the sheer weight. And yes, I know I haven't undercoated him properly because there's still exposed bits of resin, but to put it in perspective how heavy this guy is, he weighs more than a Land Raider. Like, a Land Raider model, not an actual Land Raider, like the plastic one. And this thing is just an awesome sculpt full of, like, gross pustules and boils and open guts, and just look at that mouth with that rictus grin. He'll make a really good Demon Prince of Nurgle, or even a Great Unclean one. Going back to the Juggernauts, we have the Juggernaut Ripper Squad, who are again your Orc Knobs and Mega Armor, but this time they're armed purely with death saws. Just two pairs of huge, brutal buzz saws, just intent of just getting into combat and just ripping everything apart. And again, the detail on these is exquisite. Like, you even got like pressure gauges on the buzz saws for the hydraulics, all the pistons, rivets, wires, and even like the expressions on the orcs are priceless. Like, some of them are just so happy to be here, some are just shocked, and some look a little derpy, but otherwise, they are pretty cool. If you're a collector of orcs, I do highly recommend adding these guys to your collection just because of how well detailed they are. And when I get around to painting them, they will be a joy to paint, I am sure of it. Next up, we have the Orc Howitzer, which I have started to paint. Now, the actual shell comes with it, a spare shell, but it's not actually meant to be part of the actual barrel of the cannon. I actually added it there because I just like how it looks. And plus, when you get to the Goblin crew, you can just pretend that they're shouting at one another because someone just overloaded the barrel. Like, firstly, you got this little spotter dude who's like, just going, "Ready and fire!" It's just adorable. And then you obviously got the one who's very eager to load up the cannon because he's just carrying a shell and just going, "Yeah!" And this guy, this is probably my favourite of the Goblin miniatures, just one bellowing orders with his little trumpet. Just going, "You meant to shoot that one, you idiot! You just meant to blow the bloody doors off." Essentially. So, overall, these guys from Cromlech, these guys, you know, they're very highly detailed. If you want to get them to add to your collection, I do suggest you do, especially if you're a fan of orcs. They do quite a lot of nice stuff with demons too, as you can see with the Rotten Butcher. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and this has been Remlace from 40k Theories, and we'll see you again next time. Bye bye.